Hi, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Gruber. I'm an admissions counselor here at Mount St. Joseph University. We're excited to have everyone join us today for our student panel for our theater program. So to get started, we're going to have a few introductions of everybody who's here, and then we'll get started with the questions.
Hi, everybody. My name is Richard. I'm the Director of Theater Arts, and thanks for joining us today.
I'm Annie Reynolds, and I'm a junior marketing major.
Hi, I am Jamari, and I am a senior graphic design major.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm currently a second year Doctorate of Physical Therapy student, but I also got my undergraduate in biomedical sciences at the Mount.
My name's Tim, and I'm going for my computer sciences degree.
Thanks, everybody. So like I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and get started with the questions. So the first one, pretty straightforward. We're starting off simple here. Why did y'all choose the Mount? And then once you were at the Mount, why did you decide to join the Mount Theater Program?
So I chose the Mount because I love the sense of community there. And I also love how geared all of the faculty and staff are towards helping students and driving student success. And I joined the theater program because I've done theater my whole life and love it. And when I figured out that there were like-minded students on campus who also shared that same passion for it, I was like, ooh, I better join.
I also liked the sense of community, and I liked that the Mount was small and it had the majors I was interested in. I ended up joining theater because I was involved in it in high school. I got an email for an open casting call, kind of looked at it and thought maybe, but didn't really worry about it. And then about 20 minutes before the open casting call, one of my friends said, "We're going," and just took me and we went.
For me, it was kind of the same thing. The Mount was a small community, which I really liked having in a school. And as for theater, I got into it in high school, and I loved it so much I wanted to continue it here.
For me, it was like my fellow classmates. It was something I did in high school, and I also love the sense of community. Also, when I first came to the Mount, it was so small that I knew where everything was after the first day. There was no, I'm stuck here and I need help. It was everyone knew where to go. Everyone could help one another get to where they needed to go. And it was just such a sense of like, yes, we're all here together as one. And that's why I joined.
I keep forgetting to unmute myself. This is going to be a long seminar, y'all. So next question here is, what is your favorite part about the theater program at MSJ?
My favorite part is 100% the people. I love the students that are involved, and Richard is fantastic. I just love that it fosters a sense of like acceptance. So I feel like I'm able to be 100% myself and be accepted for that.
For me, I think it would be more of the theater lab that Richard hosts every Friday. He does all these games that helps make it more entertaining, and you actually learn a lot about how the theater works from them.
I also really like the people. I definitely can say I've made some lifelong friends through doing the shows, but also I really just enjoy like the character development that we all do together, and like getting that chance to like learn who your character is and kind of bounce off of how other people kind of like interpret their character to help you learn your person. I like that learning process together.
For me, my favorite part had to be the it was my fellow classmates, my fellow actors, and the tech. It was awesome learning different forms of how to interpret script and a character. A character could say one thing, but it could mean a variety of just context and meanings. And I just liked that sense of I can interpret it any way I want to.
Very cool. So and then kind of piggybacking off that, it sounds like most of y'all do the acting, and a couple of y'all mentioned a couple of different things. So what different opportunities are available to students to be involved in theater? Is it all acting? What is Theater Lab? Are there any non-acting opportunities? And if so, what are they?
I'm gonna hop in on this one, friends. And thank you. You guys are awesome. For anybody watching, you can see we do fun stuff, and it's about the people. And these people are part of what makes theater at MSJ so great. So there's really three big things we do at MSJ. The first one is productions, and we'll talk more about that in detail later. But I think within that, it's important to bring out, as Elizabeth was kind of mentioning, there's more than just acting. There's a lot of different ways and a lot of different skills and talents needed to create theater. From a person that creates graphic designs for programs or social media, from all of our tech people that sort of make everything look good, that make us sound good, costume designers who, again, make us look good. And then there's all sorts of jobs that you don't even think about because it's a big sort of complex machine. So there are a lot of opportunities, and we're actually this year beginning to build up our sort of tech theater group and sort of trying to get a trained group of student technicians who are going to be running a lot of the events in the theater. So beyond the productions, there's also Theater Lab, which a couple people have mentioned, and that is our weekly meeting. We're going to keep meeting on Fridays at 3 p.m. And we play games, we make friends, and we just watch and see as much theater as possible. So it's a really fun way to get to know people, to learn more about theater, and to build your skills in sort of an informal environment. And as we go ahead this semester, we'll have a mix of some in-person stuff in a safe, socially distant way. And then we'll also have a lot of virtual content and some sort of fun surprises that I will save for those that come to our first meeting. And then the last sort of big category of thing we have are classes. So we're just sort of in the beginning stages of adding classes to our roster. And this semester, we're offering a class called Acting Workshop, which is a great way to build those fundamental acting skills. And especially if you're an incoming freshman, it's a great way to meet people who you're gonna sort of be on this journey with the whole rest of your time at MSJ. So if you have questions about that, let me know, and I'd be happy to get you in that class or tell you more about our other classes, which are gonna be offered in the spring.
Does anyone have anything else they want to add to that, or you want me to just hop to the next question? It's up to y'all.
I will just say I did spend one of our shows stage managing and another one of our shows as the light person, and it's a lot of fun. It's fun on the stage and off the stage. So either side is just as important.
As a former tech person, I agree with you. So that kind of leads into our next question. So you mentioned all these opportunities and different ways to get involved. How time intensive is this program? Is it going to be, you're staying up late at rehearsal, until midnight every night, or, how are you able to manage this and manage your classes? I know a lot of y'all students, you have pretty time intensive majors. So how do y'all, balance the theater and school?
A lot of it actually comes from communicating with Richard and your other teachers. Like, they're pretty flexible and they can help move around. So there's practices you can make, and they're really flexible when it comes to it.
For me, I didn't do any of the shows, but I've attended every single Theater Lab meeting since it first started in the fall. And I also wanted to be in the musical last spring, but didn't have the time for it. But I basically became Richard's right-hand man behind the scenes. Anytime I had free time, would help him paint costume pieces and do set work.
Yeah, I think we met usually about 3 times a week for the plays that we did, that I was involved in. Like Tim said, they work with you a lot with your schedule and try to make the times work for everybody. And for me, I just kind of saw it as like almost my time for stress relief from classes. So it was a nice break of, especially for me being in the sciences, it was a nice break from the sciences, and it was something different.
Okay, for me being in the arts, it was more of a fluid transition because I'm a graphic design major. It just felt very intuitive. It felt more or less like I could, it's like a wave. It's more or less like I could be here and get my work done, but I can still act and do my job. Is the best way I can put it.
That makes sense, honestly. Um, so I know, Richard, you mentioned there's the theater workshop class coming up in the fall, and there's some more, obviously, classes coming down the pipeline in the spring. For future productions, are any of those classes going to be required to participate in the production? Can you do the class and not do the production? What is that balance going to look like?
That is such an excellent question, Elizabeth. So there is a lot of flexibility in our program, which you probably heard, so that it starts with time, but also within the classes. So you're not required to take any of the classes to be involved with the productions. But if you want to make sort of your performance experience more of a scholarly endeavor and sort of have that time represented on your transcript, you can take credit for theater production so that time that you're spending will actually count for credit for your degree. And I'll save that for later when we talk about scholarship opportunities. But yes, everything is sort of interwoven, but there's a lot of flexibility. So we can make basically something work for everybody, which is, I think, one of our real strengths.
And then, so I know a lot of y'all have mentioned that the program is super flexible in terms of time and things like that. But other than that flexibility, how would you describe the culture of the theater program? Is it, something like other than flexible? Like, is it super intensive? Kind of, what does it feel like when you're part of it?
I would say it's very like lighthearted and fun. Like it is the time, like Fridays at 3 are like my time to de-stress and laugh. I can promise that there's lots of laughing that happens in theater lab because we like to be incredibly goofy and I love that.
I would definitely say it's very fun. It can be very collegial, but also like we have our times when we need to like get through something, work on something, so we can be very like dedicated and serious when we need to be.
Okay, I guess I'll go. I would agree with them. I'd say it's very business casual. It's more or less where we're here to get everything we need done, but we're also here to have fun. We're here to be more family oriented. I feel like business casual is the best way to interpret how I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I'd say it's a really fun balance between work and play for the most part.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm totally stealing that business casual terminology for future reference.
Yeah, that's perfect, Jamari. I love it. Yeah, you guys are doing great. I couldn't say it better myself.
All right. And then, Richard, I know you wanted to talk about this before, but what about scholarships? Are there any options for students to do that? And if so, how do they apply for those?
Absolutely. So we're actually very excited. We are just in our first semester of offering the Theater Award. And so what that is you can get money each semester you're involved with the MSJ Theater Arts by usually your first semester, especially if you're an incoming freshman, probably you're going to be taking a class or having some sort of structured project that we would work out. And then as you go ahead, especially if you're highly involved with Theater Lab, maybe you're one of our leaders, perhaps you are directing or choreographing or doing a big role in one of our productions, any of those activities could count toward the Theater Award. And I'm really excited about it. I feel very fortunate that MSJ has given us this great tool to sort of, I think, legitimize and sort of like show that as an institution, they really value everybody's input and time. So you can get up to $500 a semester or $1,000 a year for your whole time at MSJ. And even if it turns out you have 1 year Like I know Sarah, her schedule's kind of crazy. Maybe she had it one semester and then was like, hey, I got to step away this semester. That would be okay. You can always leave. And then if your schedule opens back up, you can come back. That sort of same flexibility is within that. And to get involved, if you're interested in the theater award, shoot me an email and we'll just talk about it. I'll see what your interest is, how we can sort of best, I guess, manage your time availability and like what the needs are for that semester and figure out how we can get you set up.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. So I'm going to kind of put the spotlight on you, Richard, again for another question here, and then I promise students you'll get to talk here again in a second. So how many and what types of productions do you try to do at least every year?
Absolutely. So our goal for each year is, I'd say, 3 to 4 productions. So it'll come out to about 2 each semester. Obviously, especially in the world we're in at the moment, we have to be very flexible. We were very sad last semester when we weren't able to finish putting up the musical. But out of that, we've learned a lot, and so we have sort of tried to find unique ways of continuing to create theater, especially in a virtual environment, as things currently are. So, for example, this coming semester, which some of the students know this, basically nobody else does. So if you're watching, you're getting a sneak peek. Our big project for this semester is actually going to be a theatrical web series called Empty Space. And so it's going to be a little bit unusual, but if anybody has seen web series, there's sort of short episodes that get released online and they're sort of like a serial format. It's going to be like that. Some of it's going to be filmed in person, sort of one-on-one. Other parts we're going to use Zoom and other mediums like TikTok to generate content. And then it's all going to be edited and woven together and released on a weekly basis. So I would say this semester is a great example of our sort of experimental devised work that we do. We also do smaller scale productions, like something that might be over in the recital hall, or this summer we did a staged virtual reading of a play called Trifles. So smaller projects that are great for sort of filling in those in-between times, whether that's over the winter semester or sometimes an early summer project. And then we have big, fully staged productions. This could be a fully staged straight play, which are considering exactly what we'd like to do for the spring, or fully staged musicals. So we sort of have the full gambit. But I feel very lucky that in this time of a lot of change with events, we've sort of found new ways to be flexible and I think really work off of our student strengths. And I have to say, I probably never would have experienced TikTok if my students hadn't recommended that I check it out. And I have to say, I'm grateful they did. I've learned a lot.
Awesome. So students, so you're doing all these plays, you're participating in theater lab, you're doing all these roles. What is the audition process like? So for like someone like me, like acting, like I can do public speaking just fine, but like acting on a stage in front of people like freaks me out. There's something about that freaks me out. So just hearing the word audition for me is scary. So what is that process like from like the acting side? Is it as scary as it sounds? Is it more laid back? How does that work?
The audition process isn't that scary because I did audition for the musical. The only people that were in there besides me were Richard and Joe Rivers, who is the choir director. So I sang a portion of a song and did a short reading of part of the show, one of the plays that we were doing that semester, and then was asked to sing some scales. So I thought it was going to be incredibly intimidating, but it really wasn't at all.
I agree. I think hearing the word audition is the worst part of auditioning, is knowing that that's coming, but it's not bad at all. I auditioned for more of the plays, not so much the musicals, but it was just Richard and I had something prepared to read. it really wasn't nearly as terrifying as it sounds when you first hear the word.
Yeah, and obviously you're gonna have the nerves before you go in, because really, who doesn't? But once you get in there, it's really calm, I'd say. You just have to go in, sing your song, do your monologue, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, when it comes to the audition process for me, I felt it was very open, like it was very open-minded. It was very uh free, as in if you wanted more than one specific role, you could read for both of them. There wasn't just I auditioned for this one character, that's it, I go home. No, it was I do what I want to see where your talents lie. And that's how I felt when I was auditioning with Richard for the plays. I am not a musical person. I cannot sing to save my life.
And Elizabeth,
Yeah.
I would say too, so for our sort of tech inclined people, you're sort of, in some ways you're lucky. I think you sometimes you get more pressure being the tech person, but I'd say the audition is more of like an interview and pretty informal. So if you were like, I really want to do something lighting related, or I want to learn more about design and tech, how could I do that? It really would just be more of a conversation that, we could have at some point. So it might come up, you're at theater lab, you're like, hey, I want to try costume designing. Or it's over the weekend and you're like, I want to do sound design. So if any of those things came up, you can always just grab me or shoot me an email and we'll sort of just talk it out and we'll figure out how we can give you the best opportunity.
Nice. All right. So what bit of advice, like what would you tell someone who's considering joining theater at the Mount, and why would you tell them that?
I would say go for it. There's nothing wrong with trying. And even if you've never been involved in theater at all, like try it, go for it. It's a great experience. Everybody's really nice. And like we've been talking about, whether you want to be on the stage or you want to be, on the crew or tech, somehow it's all really important. It's all just as fun. And you never know what you might like.
Like Sarah said, just go for it. People seem to think that, oh, I can't sing, I can't act, there isn't anything in theater that's for me, but that is so not true. There is something in theater for everyone, even if you just want to do theater lab. It's an incredibly safe space where you get to have a lot of fun, and I would highly, highly recommend getting involved in theater if you're looking for a place where you can just be who you are.
My advice would pretty much be the same. It's just really a no pressure place to be, and it's really fun.
My advice would be to stretch your legs. Go for it. Yes, go for it is the mode of the day, but stretch your legs. Show them what you can do. Even if it's just, I can do lighting really well. I can design really well. I can act really well. Everyone is useful. Stretch your legs. Fly.
Shouldn't you be stretching your wings to fly though?
You don't need wings to fly.
That's right. I gotta say, guys, really, you said it better than I could. So you've all really covered the bases nicely. So thank you, guys.
All right, so last question here. We only have a couple minutes left. What is your favorite memory from Mount Theater?
I'd have to say it's when Richard took his theater lab to go see a play at the Playhouse in the Park, Once Upon a Time. I felt like that was the moment I was really comfortable with the people around me, and that's when I really got to know people in like our carpool where we went. I really got to know them well. I loved it.
I would say there's been a lot of really good moments, but in the first show I was ever in, we always had like our 15-minute intermission, and our people doing tech and our director would come around, and we would all just sit on the floor backstage for those like 10 to 15 minutes and just talk about whatever it was, about the show, about anything else that we just wanted to talk. And then when it was time, we would all just like go back to our places. And it was just nice to get to know people in that way. And it kind of takes the pressure off of intermission because you're not just like waiting to go back out there.
I mean, I don't even think I have a favorite memory because there are so many, but basically just the antics of Theater Lab. I mean, we just are so goofy. We've done shadow puppets. I had a sword fight with my friend Tiffany with these giant paper clips that we made out of pipes for the musical. Yeah, just a lot of really, really goofy moments.
Like everyone else, my favorite moment is a goofy moment, but mine would have to be during the intermissions. Sarah knows about this, where we would just look at each other from across the stage and do the stupidest stuff. We like one of us would be flossing, and one of us would just be dancing out of nowhere. You could literally just have so much fun during the intermission that it's like everyone out there sitting watching you, having like putting pressure on you. It doesn't even matter. So it's just like the goofiness is just, it's like really fun.
All right, I guess I'll jump into, I have to say, again, you all are really getting it. It's about any of that time that you're just spending with people. So I think like breaks of rehearsals or like right after a show or rehearsal where you've had like a really, hard rehearsal or a really good show. And it could be 11 o'clock at night. And yet I'll be finishing up doing stuff. And there's a cluster of students and family members and friends hanging out in the lobby. And they're still talking like half hour, 45 minutes, an hour after it's done. And I think that sort of energy and that connection is just sort of my favorite, like general memory, because when we're doing theater stuff, we meet people that we like, we connect with, and then we just want to hang out, and the time flies.
Awesome. So if anyone watching, we're going to hang out for just a couple minutes, see if anyone has any questions they want to ask us. Otherwise, I'm through with my questions. So we'll just wait here a minute and see if anyone has anything. All right, so it looks like we don't have any questions, but I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks to every single one of you for participating in our panel. Have a good one. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.